Well, welcome once again. This is the Doctor of Digital at the Doctor of Digital podcast. Purpose of the show is to transform your business and life with education and inspiration. I introduce busy business leaders to trends in business, technology, and marketing to highlight people you should know. Have you ever wondered what it takes to be at the forefront of blockchain technology, shaping the future of decentralized systems? My next guest has been doing just that for over 3 decades, pioneering innovations and changing the way we think about digital transactions and data security. Join us as we dive into the mind of a true visionary in the world of emerging technologies. Roberto Capodieci is an Italian born technology innovator whose impact on blockchain technology and decentralized systems is nothing short of revolutionary. Starting his IT career at a remarkably young age, Roberto has consistently pushed the boundaries of what's possible in the digital realm. His journey has taken him from Italy to Florida and now to Asia, where he strategically balances his life in Bali with his business activities in Singapore's thriving tech scene. Roberto's extensive experience and deep passion for emerging technologies has positioned him as a key player in shaping the future of blockchain technology and applications of decentralized systems, making him one of the most influential figures in a rapidly evolving field. During this episode, we'll do a deep dive into the changes and hot topics of blockchain, its biggest challenges and growth, and I will leverage the expertise of my guest and how to navigate the unique dynamics of the field. By the end of this episode, you'll be better equipped to know what to do, and I encourage you to contact my guest, Roberto Capodieci, Chief Technology Officer and Blockchain Evangelist. With that, I want to welcome Roberto to the show. How you doing today, Roberto?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me in your show.
Well, it's my pleasure because, for goodness sakes, we got to see a lot about your background and who and what you are. Could you tell us a little bit about your blockchain, how you got started in this thing? What's the story? Like, how did you jump into this particular field?
Well, I come from a lot of passion and work in communication and technology. Blockchain is a much recent thing. I was there at the right moment in the right place because in entrepreneurship, luck is a big chance of something people need because you can work hard, but if you're not lucky, hardly you go ahead. And it
Uh,
happened. I was already in decentralization
all right.
because I like peer-to-peer network. I was hacking the protocol of BitTorrent, which is a tool to download files from the internet. And in this community, small community worldwide, there were people working on these other projects. So I received one copy of the software of Bitcoin before it was published. So in contact with the first people,
Yeah.
and then this brought me into this, new technology because it's a new technology made with the old components, so nothing was
Sure.
particularly new if not the way that those were used. And then I embraced the way, and I started making project for blockchain, but not for cryptocurrency, so use of blockchain on other fields, which is something interesting.
Sure. It's such a rapid, like technology in general is changing a lot, but I'm really curious, what sort of changes have you seen that you could talk about?
Well, so maybe in 2 minutes I try to explain everybody what blockchain is,
Sure.
because many people would have heard about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, and what
Yes.
makes those possible is this technology called blockchain. But the use case of cryptocurrency is just the tip of the iceberg. There are tons of other possible use cases that are empowered by this technology.
Okay.
If you think in the evolution of the information technology, we start digitizing things. So things from
Mhm.
analog became digital, like music was in vinyl disc, or videotape, VHS, and now is everything in digital format.
Yes.
And becoming digital, things are easy to copy. So I have an MP3 file, I can make 10 copy. You don't know which is the original anymore because the bit R10 are copied exactly the same. Okay.
All
In
right.
analog, you see the quality, the grade with copies, but in digital remains the same.
Hmm.
So the big issue with digital things is that there was no singularity, no unicity of items. So I cannot have something that is mine, and if I give it to you, is no more mine, is yours.
I
But
see.
if you think well with the Bitcoin, if I send somebody a Bitcoin, I don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
So the big miracle that there is that in the digital world, you can create an item that, even though it's made in bit and bytes, still has a unicity. So once I give it to you, I don't have it anymore. That's why it is NFT with a strange monkey. The people sold it for a lot of money. Were interesting, not much for the
Yeah.
monkey by per se, but the fact that you can claim ownership and show to the people the ownership of something digital. And in a world that is evolving into a digital everything, digital
Hmm.
radio, digital, what we're doing now is digital, the podcast to people in different parts of the world that talking, we create a content that is digital. Is beautiful the fact that we can attach authenticity and singularity to the ownership of something digital. Digital artist create a digital piece of art, he can sell it to somebody, and
Right.
somebody can claim to be the owner, resell it. So under this, in more practical approach, blockchain can allow people to do things like title ownership. So I can put the title of my car in form of an NFT, if you want to make it easy to understand, in the blockchain, and then trade with others. So I can sell you my car without having to go to the MV, to the office where the car registry is held, to change the name, because we can do something directly from one person to another, and guaranteed by cryptography. So by mathematics, there is no forging document, no falsifying document. So it's something very, very powerful, and
Yeah.
that can be applied to so many other things. So I'm really tried to bring this ahead. I did document management, bureaucracy flows, all managed with this technology, removing the man in the middle without the need to elect somebody to be the trustee for documentation from for fact, which you trust mathematics only. So it's pretty cool. I think is a revolutionary technology that is going to change things a lot.
Sure. And speaking of decentralized, that's about as decentralized as it can get because it's individual to individual as opposed to having to go to a
Correct.
DMV to change a transfer. It's really decentralized. It's person to person.
Correct, exactly. Which comes with a lot of responsibility too, because when you go through a middleman, if you make a mistake, you can go to the middleman to fix it. When you do it directly, you cannot go to anybody to fix a mistake, right?
Okay.
So this, but I accept this part rather than having to trust a third party.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And again, talking about the changes, I'm also curious about hot topics because this is a hot topic in general, right? But what would you say are some of the trends or the hot topics that you see currently?
in specific technology like
Yes.
blockchain,
Yes.
you consider one of the first use cases that has been applied outside cryptocurrencies. Okay, because I mean
Okay.
we all know about cryptocurrency, so I'm not going to repeat what happened with Bitcoin and other things, right?
Yeah.
But is the use of this technology, I'm talking even before Ethereum, which is the second revolution in the blockchain, came out, was used to certify ownership of land in
Mhm.
countries that are with highly corruption. There are people in the registry of land that start deleting the name of one farmer and put the name of their cousin, and suddenly they are legally owned of a huge piece of land just because they falsify. It happened to in Italy as well, so
Mm.
not only in third world country. Okay, so external commission, like they did this project where the registry would record it in a blockchain format, so cryptographically secure, so there is no corruption in place to change the name. The name change would happen only cryptographically signed, so with an audit of who did the change, when and what. So this was very powerful because shows the power of this thing. Shows also why it is difficult to get it accepted inside large institution where people want to have the elasticity to play a little bit with the rules, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of an interesting aspect. Nobody will say no, but it's a slow process. Mostly when it comes to large institution government, they never embrace new technology
Yeah.
on the fly. Consider fax machine, which, if we have very young viewer, are machine where you put a piece of paper and comes out the copy on the other side,
Right.
something very strange, are still regulated as a valid document for banks. That's why many banks still ask you to send a fax with the
Right.
copy, because this in court of law has a validity. Maybe many country emails start getting valid now, but other format of communication are not yet regulated to be valid in court of law. So sometimes regulators slow down the evolution of
Yeah.
technology. So before communication like or data cryptographically signed like the blockchain are going to be valid by regulator, it's going to take time. But in the meanwhile, the technology mature enough to be good enough for the
Hmm.
moment that is going to be adopted. I mean, there are countries where it's already, but not worldwide.
Yeah. I'm curious how you develop this kind of a unique approach, and it's so new that it's really new for a lot of people. It's groundbreaking. So, how did you develop these sort of groundbreaking ideas and get this unique approach to systems?
It's not easy. I think that the more we are educated on something, more our head is inside the box that has hard time to think outside of it. So strangely, into some technology, I try to get less informed
Mm.
than somebody that really knows everything. Because when you really know everything, then that's where your minds go when you want a solution.
Oh,
If you are less educated on the specifics, then your mind try to come out with a solution that can
okay.
be groundbreaking.
Yeah.
So this is an advantage somehow when coming to, as a work, I do consulting mainly. So a large company called me to find the best solution for a particular issue they have, that usually is about money, how much money you lose for a problem in a year, how much the solution costs not to lose those money. If in a couple of years you cover the losses that from the 3 year is all money made. So they like technological solution to solve problem. So arriving in a place with a fresh mind to be able to come out with a solution that is not been taught before, because probably when they come to me they already tried other things and they failed,
Let's see.
is the perfect approach to come out with the powerful solution that can actually take. And this comes out to be most of the time, or sometime, if you want, some innovation or some groundbreaking approach to particular problems, a new technology or new approach to things. That's how I think things happen.
So you're thinking outside the box. I'm curious too, because you have such an interesting international background from Italy to Florida to Bali to Singapore. Has that had an impact, or is that, would you say, maybe has gotten you multicultural and then open to innovation or more open to new ideas?
Surely getting to know different culture and working with people in different culture, and something that taught me a lot is also how to approach, how to be more respectful with people, because sometimes by culture, like Western country, we're much more direct. We say things, when you do consulting, is very difficult because some clients want to hear you to say to them what they want to hear and not what you
Mm.
actually need to tell them. So it becomes super difficult to say, no, you're doing the wrong choice, you need to change this thing. Terrible to say you made a mistake there. So you need to be able to communicate. So you become a sort of psychologist as well when it comes to make sure the client is happy, and yet you can help them to do the right choice. And this is very different, based on different culture, different country. Europe itself is variegated from country to country. It's not just you travel very small distance, you have a completely different culture, even inside the single nation. So having these extremes from super west like the United States, and super east like Asia, I can really approach well many different point of view, and in also how solutions need to be applied. Uh, for example, customs, you cannot disrupt the way people work. So many times somebody is used to do one particular thing, and you need to come with a
Sure.
solution that approach the way that they work, not that they change the way that they work. So for
Mm.
example, in Asian many countries, China, because like they like to stamp things. That's the stamp is like in Japan, in place of signing, people have personalized stamps that they use. So how you let them keep working the same way, but you need to build up a stamp that has a Bluetooth things that save in the computer the moment that has been stamped, or can combine pictures. So there is a lot of interesting approach that maybe are not the most ideal in terms of
Mm.
technology, but they are the most ideal in terms of adoption. So you make sure that once you come out with a solution, people have not too much disruption the way they work, so the solution is adopted, because nothing worse than a solution that people nobody want to use, so
Right.
it's, for
Sure.
as good it is technically, is terrible in terms of you know
There's sort of an idea that that people resist change and we're creatures of habit. So if you come into
absolutely.
something and it's so different from what they're ordinarily doing, and a lot of workers are like this, obviously, right? They work and they're told exactly what to do, and that's all they
Absolutely.
want to know.
So this is for sure one of the important aspects in approaching when you are into disruptive new technologies, for how it sounds good. When it comes to the real job, then you have this sort of problems, right? So that you need to leave people doing their work the way they know how to do it, and you put behind, underneath the layer of innovation, for which their work become 10 times more effective, it becomes much more secure, errors are detected, but the way they work change very little to nothing, so that's, it's beautiful also to see this.
What are the what are the most convincing things for people when you introduce blockchain technology to them? Do they see, and do you explain how this is better or makes the job easier, faster, quicker, what have you?
Interesting. Most people call me because they want to add new technologies to what they do.
Okay.
Okay. And I usually work in stages. First of all, I need to learn what they do. Okay. And then I need to explain to them the opportunity that the decentralized
Okay.
system, peer-to-peer system offers. And then together we can say, okay, based on what I learned the client do, I can say, maybe this thing we can do in this way. And the client learning, which is the opportunity, can say, but we can do that. And we correct each other. So after this three step, we know very well what can be done and what cannot be done. Then, if they work in a particular industry that is possibly regulated, then can be brought in a consultant that is expert of the industry specifically,
Mm,
to say, like, this technically can be done but it's not legal, or can cause this issue down the chain in a certain way.
okay.
So we want to perfect, and then we see how this system can be integrated with what already exists, in the way to be less painful as possible to the adoption.
Mhm.
And then we choose the technology, and then we go with the implementation. So it's very important to do the first phases before starting to implement something, because, and making sure the technology is really useful to solve the problem that they have. Because
Mm.
if it's just to use the buzzword and to do a marketing, or to go an IPO and show that you have the best technology, then we can put it as a collateral, but don't go to touch the core way of working for a company, because
Understood. It makes a whole lot of sense. So we talked about the cultural and the advantages of what you've been able to do, the topics that you see that are currently, and the changes. And I'm curious about what sort of actionable tips could you offer, your expertise of your background. Like, what would you offer somebody if you're working with them, they want to work with you?
well, a different point of view, a different angle on what is done by them. The biggest issue we have as human is that, as you were saying, we are, like beings of habit.
Mm,
So when you are into a business, doing this daily for a long time, and maybe even for generations, you are super expert in the specific of your business,
sure.
but you tend to lose the bird eye view of what your business means inside the larger context.
Hmm. Yes.
And somebody that doesn't know, exactly like what I was saying before, being ignorant is a blessing sometimes,
Yep.
because allow you to say things that may be totally stupid, and people understanding, brainstorming, people can say those stupid things. But on the other hand, between those stupid things, there can be one genius idea, one genius approach, and many times this come out to be the best solution
Got it.
for the issue. Somebody that is inside the business will never think outside the box, I was
That's right.
saying before. And so this is and you see the eureka moment in the eye of the person you're talking to. So you touch the right things, and then you can cultivate that aspect. So it's really is like a psychologist of business, if you
Right.
want,
Right.
for with the medicine are now talking in pharmacy about technology applied to that. So that's.
Well, you have some actionable tips and some ideas to introduce what you've done, and you've got obviously really expertise in this area. Now, I'm curious, how would a person get a hold of you if they were interested in what you've been saying and they would like to work with you?
Sure. My LinkedIn profile is quite easy. It's linkedin.com/in/rc10. RC like Roberto Capodieci. 10 because the H in Italian is number 10. So RC Roberto Capo 1010. Roberto Capodieci. And rcx.it is a shortcut to my website. I'm making a new one coming out soon.
Good.
And those are the simple way. Or my email is roberto@capodici.com, which is also straightforward
Sure.
too. But so that's
Very,
a simple way to contact me.
very interesting. I mean, I think this is a groundbreaking area, and I think this is really exciting area. So hopefully, we get a lot of people who are saying just as excited as I am about seeing all those great things. Thanks for taking some time out. I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you showing
Thank you
up
for having me.
today. Thank you so much, Roberto. Thanks. If you want to hear more of things like this, Roberto and others, make sure that you are liking, subscribing, positively reviewing, and sharing the Doctor of Digital podcast everywhere. And also, here's an offer for you. I help business leaders, CEOs, and entrepreneurs break through their obscurity through oral and written presentations, building credibility and authority. You can join me on the private Facebook group, and also you can enjoy those things as well. The sponsors of the program, I'd like to thank them, of course, the publishers of Burning America, and also On Track, Ian Hunter. Until next time, this is the Doctor of Digital signing off. Deus Volt.